as difficult as it may sound and as difficult as it is in reality, we still have to face our fears, face our emotions, and face our experiences with courage. So if you're like me and you're also just learning how to process your emotions, then this video is for you. So I'm going to be asking a couple of questions here that we've already written down, and you can answer along with me. Our first question is, what were the bad emotional habits that you had to let go of as an adult? I have a few, but I'll just name one. I am a huge escapist. If there is friction, if there is any disagreement, I'm not the type of person that would process my emotion. I'm the type of person that would go, okay, I disagree with that. I'm gonna go out and have a drink, or I'm gonna go out and travel outside the country. Ganun akong klaseng tao. So that was a bad emotional habit that I had to let go of, because you will not be able to resolve anything if you just keep escaping. You will not be able to resolve anything if you keep trying to hide from your emotions and trying to hide from the things that you've experienced. As difficult as it may sound and as difficult as it is in reality, we still have to face our fears, face our emotions, and face our experiences with courage. Even if it's not always courageous, right? Even just facing it is courageous as it is. So that's one of the bad emotional habits that I had to let go of as an adult. Next, what does it mean to process your emotions? So we started talking about processing our emotions already without really defining it, right? But what does it really mean to quote-unquote process your emotions? I don't know if there's a scientific definition of this. Obviously, I'm not a psychiatrist or a doctor that could tell you the exact scientific definition, if there is any, of processing your emotions. But for me personally, processing your emotions means facing them. It means actually acknowledging them and saying, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling frustration, I'm feeling excitement, I'm feeling whatever it is that you're feeling, right? Label it to tame it. That's one of the things that my counselor and my therapist would always tell me. And that's how I also am not afraid of my inclinations, because anytime that I have a negative inclination, whether that is to become anxious or angry or frustrated, I just label it. So that's what processing your emotion is for me. It's actually acknowledging that that exists and telling yourself that, yes, I may be feeling angry, but I don't have to be an angry person. So it's separating your emotion from your being. A lot of people think, and this is also what I felt before, that anytime that you felt something or that you experienced something, yun ay nagiging definition ng pagkatao mo. But in reality, the things that we experience and the things that we feel, they are just that. They are things that we experience and that we feel. They are separate from our being. And what is the most powerful thing about that idea, right? What is the importance of knowing that your emotion and your experiences are separate from your being? It's that you understand that you don't necessarily have to be defined, you don't necessarily have to follow, you don't necessarily have to be controlled by these things, because you are separate from them. So that's what processing your emotions truly mean. It also is about taking time to see what you're going through, experience, feel, and acknowledge what you're going through, instead of just jumping to a solution or jumping to a conclusion. So I've written down here a couple of tips that I think would help you if you're like me, that you're just starting out your processing journey. And the first one is breaking down the situation and your actions. I guess what that really means is when you experience something, the first thing that you sometimes do is nagpapadala ka kaagad sa emosyon mo, di ba? Or nagpapadala ka kaagad dun sa na-experience mong bagay. But sometimes, you have to take your emotions out of it to be able to process it and look at it from a logical perspective. Okay, what happened here? What makes me angry, or what makes me feel this certain emotion about the situation, and what do I do about it now? For example, if you were lied to by someone that you trusted, instead of just being angry and being unforgiving towards this person, what can you do? What can you do to break down the situation and the action? First, you can say, okay, what happened? Well, a trusted friend of mine who I love and who I thought I could trust lied to me. Second, what are you feeling? I'm feeling betrayed, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling frustrated, and I'm sad. Third, why do I feel this way? I feel this way because I love this person and I gave my trust to this person and they broke it. And then you can start that whole process of, okay, what then do you do next? Because sometimes siniskip natin yung buong process na yun and we just jump straight to the conclusion na, masama kasi siyang tao kaya yung nagawa sa akin yun eh. Hindi muna natin pinaprocess. That gives us toxic emotions and negativity that we don't want. Second tip, evaluate everything that's happening in your life and check your emotions, which is kind of like related to the first one that we talked about, right? Evaluate the things, and that could also be count your blessings. Be grateful for the things that are working out, and then find out, okay, what are the things that are not working out, and what can I do to make it better? So that's what that basically means. Finally, how do we handle spikes in emotions? These are things that I've written down from my personal experience, but I'd love to hear from you guys kung ano yung mga bagay na talagang tinatry nyong gawin ngayon to process your emotions. For me, I do have a lot of spikes in my emotions kasi nga, I've been so used to just hiding them and sweeping them under the rug. So now that I have to deal with it and I have a husband who always wants to confront me about it, not in a negative way, but in a positive way, I have to deal with it in different habits. How do I handle spikes in my emotions? First, I breathe. Practice deep breathing before you say anything. I always say this, if you are on high emotions, whether you're very, very happy or you're very, very angry, whatever extreme emotion it is, don't make any decision when you're at that peak. Let your emotions kind of dwindle down first. Start breathing. You can start praying. And take time for yourself. If you need to step out of the room, if you need a couple of hours, if you need to take a shower, if you need to eat. Minsan nangyayari sa akin to, parang sobrang lagi akong irritable. I'm hangry. I'm a hangry type of person. So when I know that I'm hungry and then something irritating happens, I'll eat first and take time for myself before I confront the situation. Next, journal and write things down. Write it down without thinking about your grammar, how it's put together, without thinking about the words that you're gonna be using. Because sometimes our brains are not capable of processing our emotions when it's just in our mind. We actually need to write things down to see what we're going through. And believe me when I say that, and I'm sure you've experienced this too if you like journaling, may mga times na nagjo-journal ako, tapos nagugulat na lang ako na, shucks, yung pala yung nararamdaman ko, I didn't realize that that's what I was feeling. Or hurt pa rin pala ako about that thing that happened to me many, many months back. I didn't know. So journal and write things down. And of course, if you don't have a friend to talk to, your journal is your best friend. Third and finally, if you do have someone to talk to, share to them what you're feeling. We are not designed to be alone. We are designed to be in a part of a community, to have someone that we trust, someone that we can talk to. And if you are lucky or blessed enough to have that person, make sure that you share those things with another person. And may I just say with caution, may mga friends tayo na talagang eager to help. So magkikwento ka lang, meron na silang solution, right? Madaling mairita sa mga ganung tao. But if you just tell them, okay, this conversation is not for you to help me figure this out. I just need you to listen. Or the other way around, diba? This conversation is not just for you to listen, but I need you to help me figure this out. Make it known. Let your friends or your loved ones know what you want and what you need at that moment. And don't expect other people to just be magicians in understanding your emotions, because that's not true. That's not the reality. We do need to spell things out more often than not. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys here today is to not feel any pressure to actually know what processing your emotion is. Minsan, it's hard for us to do things that we don't know the little crevices of. If you don't know every little thing about this processing your emotion, baka matakot ka na, ay, hindi ko mapaprocess yung emotion ko kasi hindi ko maintindihan kung paano ba to talaga. It could be the simple steps that I was talking to you about earlier, which is evaluate the situation that you're in, evaluate what you're feeling, evaluate why you're feeling that way, and then evaluate the next steps that you want to do after you've processed those things. And it does come with practice. It's still something that I feel like I'm learning to improve on, but every day that you try to process your emotions instead of hide and instead of keep them to yourselves, you become better and better. Finally, I wanted to share with you that the reality is we all are capable of processing our emotions, but we all may differ in the way by which we do it. So there are people who need more time. I'm that type of person. When there's an argument or something big happens, I need time to process it. Juancho naman is baliktad. When he feels something, alam niya na kaagad kung paano i-process yan. So, pag nag-aaway kami, it's kind of complicated because I would always say, I need a little bit of space, and Juancho would always say, I need to discuss this right now. So, learn how to meet in the middle if you are processing your emotions with somebody else. May mga dalawang klase ng tao on how they feel. So there's one that's coherent and logical, and then we also have the emotional ones. The coherent and logical have more control over their feelings, and the emotional ones have a little less control over their feelings. So whether you are a coherent and logical feeler or an emotional feeler, you have to learn to acknowledge and accept that and tell people na, hey, just wag niyo na lang ako pansinin if I'm being extra sensitive today or if I get angry about this, you know. So just try to accept that we all have different ways of processing our emotions, and we all have different upbringings. The more we understand our diversity, the more we are able to become united in our society. So there you have it, guys. Those are some of my tips for how to process your emotions. Again, don't forget that this is one small step at a time thing. If you are an anxious person, if you are a sad person, or if you are an extremely happy, extremely adventurous person, it takes a while before you make those big changes in your life. It always starts with one small step moving forward. So hopefully you liked this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment in the comment section below if you have any other content that you'd like for us to do, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Happy 100,000 subscribers! Yay! And click that notification button, and we'll see you guys again next week. Paalam!